Dear students, welcome and thank you for tuning in. We are going to start discussing a new lecture in the Biomaterials class. This lecture title is Cells Interaction with Biomaterials. In the previous lecture, we talked about proteins interaction with biomaterials, and we learned a lot about proteins, what they are, with their functionalities, and what kind of proteins are very important when we interact with biomaterials, implanted biomaterials that we have placed inside the human body. In this lecture, we're going to go a little bit further and talk about cells and how they interact with implanted biomaterials inside the body. We're going to explain and discuss general concepts. As we move forward, we will learn more and more about what cells do and how they react when a material or a biomaterial is implanted inside the body or the organism. So we will start with what does the term biocompatible means, what determined which material will be biocompatible, and why compatibility is important. Look at this schematic that we are presenting in this slide. Let's say that this is our material. We have the bulk of our material, and then we have the surface layer of our material. And this is something very important in medicine and biology. When we implant a material inside the body, we need to pay attention to the surface property as well as to the bulk properties of the material that we implant. And they're not the same in most cases because the applications for each one of them is different, and how the proteins and the cells inside the body interact with each layer is different. And we discussed this at the beginning of this class. Let's assume that this box represents my material and it has two parts, surface layer and bulk layer of it. When you implant this inside the body or an organism, a living organism, we will have two layers. The first layer will be adsorbed layer of water, ion, and proteins, and that's why we started talking about protein interaction with the materials. And then we will have the cells in the biological fluid that surrounds the material inside the body. We need to learn how would these cells interact and what are they going to do when they interact with the adsorbed layer, as well as which is a characteristic or something that will determine how the cells will react to the material itself. So this is what we want to discuss and we want to learn about in this lecture. So let's keep talking about concepts. So we talked about biocompatibility. So what is biocompatibility? Biocompatibility refers to the suitability of a material for use inside the body. First thing, it's very important. Two, and this suitability is indicated by the reaction of the body. So the body will react to the material that was implanted inside the body. And this reaction of the body will be determined by its immune response. We know that we have a lot of different cells inside the human body, and one kind of these cells are actually the immune cells, immune response cells. So biocompatibility comes down to the reaction of the immune cells toward implantable material inside the body. So we need to keep all these three things in our mind. We are putting something inside the body. We are looking at the reaction of the body, and that reaction is characterized by the reaction of the immune cells that build up our immune response. So we would like to talk a little bit more about the immune system. What is our immune system and how does it work? So the immune system serves two functions, main functions. It's a protection and first protection. The second function is maintaining some characteristics. So the immune system protects the body from invading microbes. It's the first thing. And the second function is maintaining body normal internal environment. So doing such thing as cleaning away dead or damaged cells. These functions are performed by a system involved three components, and we need to memorize those. So we have barriers like skin. We have immune system cells like B cells and T cells, they're immune cells, and we have the circulating immune proteins, and those immune proteins just like antibodies, right? So we have these three components that makes up our immune system, and they are all interrelated. The barriers like skin communicate with the immune cells, the T cells and the B cells, and the T cells and the B cells help in creating antibodies, and the antibodies, they affect how cells interact and how cells are created and function. How do they function? How do we make more and more of these cells and antibodies? So they're all interrelated. However, in this class, we're going to assume we'll look at each one of them separately, and just to understand the functionality. But it's very important to keep in mind that cells communicate with each other. So cells will create antibodies, and the antibodies will affect the cells, and it's a feedback loop, a feedback control system. And we will talk about this in a more advanced setup. But let's keep our focus now on each one alone. So barriers like skin and other surface tissues provide physical walls, and so that they keep invading microbes out of the body. So the skin is very simple. It's straightforward. Now, the immune system cells from the cellular immune system. So you have T cells, B cells, macrophages. So a lot of different cells, and have the job of breaking down tissue, the damaged tissue, coordinate the immune response, swallow up invading microbes like macrophages, to destroy them, and killing cells that are infected by microbes. So this is a very important component of when it comes down to look at biomaterials and the implantable biomaterials, and we'll talk about this more. The circulating protein like antibodies, we call them humoral immune system. So they are antibodies, and also they are signals. That's why we mentioned all these three components of our immune system are interrelated. So circulating proteins, they can be antibodies that targets microbes and invading cells or invading proteins, but also they can be proteins that can signal and facilitate communication between the different components of our immune system and other systems inside the body. That's why we call them humoral immune system, and includes many molecules, make and promote immune response. They could poison invading microbes, and they are identify invading microbes as foreign and so they're not belonging to the body. So I hope this paints the big picture of the immune system functionality. And now we will going to learn more and more about how the immune system is related to implanted biomaterials and why this is important. Thank you for watching. Until the next video. Bye.